I want to talk about Whole Lotta Red.
Wake up, filthy.
Look, there's a lot of artists and albums out there that I could talk about, but Playboi Carti and Whole Lotta Red deserve a discussion. I know opinions on this one are pretty split, so I'm going to do my part to just explain how I got to where I am, and maybe give you a hint on how you could get there too. My history with Playboi Carti is interesting to say the least. My little brother recommended Die Lit to me back in 2018, and I gotta say, it was one of the worst things I'd ever heard. I was frankly astounded. I'd never imagined that my own brother would be listening to this kind of garbage. The beats were pretty good, but the lyrics were indecipherable and so repetitive that I thought this guy maybe had brain damage. I remember thinking and declaring at the time that Flatbed Freestyle was one of the worst songs I'd ever heard in that year or any year, and yeah, that's been hard to shake. I think I liked one song, and I think it was the song with Uzi, because it seemed like it had a melody that I could follow.
I gotta tell my bestie, someone call my bestie.
And of course I told my brother my reaction, and he told me I was a hater and that I didn't understand it. And I don't like when people tell me that, because I like to think I can understand things. But it would turn out that he was right.
Yo, what? You're gonna hop on my car.
Something happened in the years that followed that experience, and a lot of it was memes.
Take back what you said about my mom. I'll kill you.
I'd see these meme videos posted on Twitter or Instagram or whatever using Playboi Carti songs, and I didn't know that hearing it. Man, I love the memes, and the music just fits so well, and I found myself unknowingly listening to Playboi Carti over and over again. But through this process with the memes, I realized that, yeah, there was something there. Obviously, lyrics were beside the point. When I paid attention to them on the first listen, that's why I hated the album. More important was the headspace that it put me in, the headspace that the music put me in. The beats are fun, they envelop you and they transport you to this place where nothing makes any sense, and that's okay. I compare becoming a fan of Playboi Carti to breaking a glow stick. The glow stick doesn't work unless you break it. You still have to break it though. Something has to snap. And yeah, in my brain and in anybody else's brain, I think when you're first presented with Playboi Carti, it does not work. But at some point along the line, something might snap, and then suddenly it all makes sense. So now after all the memes had come around, I found that maybe there were 4 or 5 songs on Die Lit that I really loved, and I was like, dang, I have to rethink this album. But it wasn't too long after that point for me that December 25th of 2020 rolled around. A day that I think should live in infamy as the Red Christmas.
Wake up, filthy.
I'm a guy who's on Twitter, and the reaction initially on Twitter was crazy. A lot of people trying to get hashtags going, like whole lot of mid, whole lot of skips. And yeah, I get it. People hated this album. And then you had a small corner of people proclaiming it an instant classic. I do enjoy when that polarity exists. And at this point, I wonder if those people screaming instant classic were all that crazy. No, I don't know. Maybe they were still crazy. For me, though, initial reaction to this album, I liked a handful of songs. As I went through this album, there was a lot that was rough, and I was honestly motivated to skip and thinking, this is not that good. By the time I reached the end, though, the final track, Feel Like Dying, samples Bon Iver.
Keep what you tell me, and I feel like dying.
That in itself shocked me and stopped me in my tracks, and I realized I gotta listen to the whole album again.
I'm lost in the world.
So I listened to it a second time, and maybe 1 or 2 more songs that I liked. And then I just kind of stopped listening to it. The timeline after that point is kind of odd and hard to remember, but I know that there were various points when I just decided to put this on again, just to give it a try. Like I said, there were a few songs that I liked, so I figured why not just try the whole album again? I tried it on a drive here and there, I tried it at the gym, I tried it while I was gaming, and sure enough, it felt like it started to grow on me more with each listen.
Wake up, it's the first of the month.
I took a bit of a gamble buying the album on vinyl because I wasn't sure if I'd truly love it. But by the time I got it on wax and threw it on the turntable, I have to say I realized I made the best decision. I don't know what it is, man. It just completely turned around for me where now I like pretty much every single song. There are obviously some that are better than others, and there's at least one song that I don't like, and that's Teen X with Future. But man, the rest of it is enjoyable, and the whole thing is pretty cohesive. I can throw this on in any context and just kind of sit and listen to the entire album. And I have to say that the final run of the album, starting with the track Place, if you don't like this album, start there, just listen to that as like a mini EP. It'd be dangerous for me to say that that run is perfect, but it's pretty close. I'm thinking about dyeing my hair red, just to look like a pattern red. And one thing that's interesting about Whole Lotta Red is that when I do start to listen to the lyrics, I find myself having a great time.
Can't fuck with nobody, not even my shadow.
Playboi Carti is funny. I don't know if he's trying to be, but he is funny.
They thought I was gay.
Of course, for the most part, it's very simple and not a whole lot to unravel, but the one-liners get me.
Remember you to put that side of purple like lean. They can't understand me, I'm talking hieroglyphics. Take my shirt off and now the whole stop breathing. I just pat on her ass and tell her good shit. I'm for the bitch in Panama.
Also, the other day, for some reason, I thought that Playboi Carti and Kurt Vile are kind of similar. I say that because they both operate in these genres, but sort of outside of the boundaries of what's normally acceptable. You know, Kurt Vile is a singer-songwriter working in the rock genre, but his songs are long and meandering and just kind of stoner jam sessions that a lot of people probably wouldn't like.
Some are weird as hell, but we love them.
His lyrics are kind of free associative, just mundane, everyday stuff. For a lot of people, that's probably not enough in the rock music that they're looking for. Maybe it's too far outside the lines. And the same can be said for Playboi Carti. You know, Playboi Carti is a hip-hop artist, and hip-hop is a genre that loves looking back on the past and operating in, you know, certain styles. When he removes lyricism, which is a core component of hip-hop, and focuses instead on vibes, whatever that means, yeah, it's going to upset people and disrupt things. But hey, for some people, it's going to click. Actually, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. I remembered this while I was editing. So obviously Carti's going for this blood red aesthetic, and there's talk of what seems to be vampires, right? He uses the word vamp a lot on the album. You got King Vamp, Vamp Anthem. But what I don't see a lot of people talk about is that the term vamping has a different meaning in music. Vamping has to do with repetition of some short musical phrase. Does that not sound familiar?
Cause I've always had a soft spot for repetition.
Does Playboi Carti's music not reek of repetition? When he says that he's the King Vamp, is he talking about his ability to vamp? Just something to think about, just throwing it out there. So yeah, I found myself middle to end of 2021 loving Playboi Carti's Whole Lotta Red. A bit too late for me to put it in my own personal list of favorite albums of 2020. And then oddly enough, by the end of 2021, I saw publications like Pitchfork putting Whole Lotta Red in their year-end lists for 2021. Hello, is that allowed? That sounds illegal. The album came out in 2020. Obviously, I don't like that. For me, that's a rule that I have for myself. I'm not going to cross those boundaries just because I came to something late. So I was too late to put it in 2020. I cannot technically put it in 21. Where does it go? The truth of the matter is it's not going anywhere. This whole year-end jam, the rush to put it into one list or the lag behind to put it in another, it taught me a lesson in appreciation. The thing about art is it's forever. I feel like in music especially, everybody wants to be early, right? We all listen to the albums right when they come out, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think the rush to be early is less useful sometimes, especially with albums like this that are going to shock you and not connect with you on one listen. Who cares if you're not early or on time? What matters is that you just show up. It's not going anywhere. There's a great instance of Tyler, the Creator, explaining this to a fan who had asked for the old Tyler. His response was, what are you, on punishment or something? Why can't you listen to it? It's still there. The music is always going to be there. It's not about when you get there, but just that you get there. Artists progress, their music progresses, but we can always go back and listen to albums as a snapshot of where they were and where we were. I imagine there's some people watching this video that don't like Playboi Carti, and there's probably a lot of people that even after this video aren't going to like Playboi Carti, and that's okay. The other thing about art is that it's subjective, and it's not going to be for everybody. If you hate it, all I ask is that you understand why. Maybe you're like I was, and you're focusing on lyrics and looking for a rap album in the traditional sense, which that's not what you're getting, so stop looking. But I also don't think you need to force yourself to keep up, you know? There's so many artists out there, and I hear this all the time where somebody says they listened to an album 15, 20 times and it finally clicked. I think few, if any of us, have that kind of patience. And if you don't push yourself too hard. But if you do have some patience and you do have some time on your hands and you don't think that you like or understand Whole Lotta Red, give it another shot. Maybe don't pay as much attention. Maybe throw it on while you're doing something else. I feel like that in itself is a sin, but try it. You might still hate it, and that's okay. But maybe your glow stick will break, and suddenly you'll find that you are insane and you do enjoy it like me. But you know what? It's never too late, and it's never too much.
Never too much. Never too much. Never too much.